A serious crash involving a tractor trailer caused traffic delays this morning in Miami Gardens. Sky 10 flew above the scene at the ramp from 826 eastbound to I-95 southbound. That ramp was shut down for hours, but has since reopened. You may not see lines, but earlier today there were hundreds of people waiting to get home to their families. We actually just received a picture from Las Vegas of people sleeping in the terminal waiting to get back. Well, it seems Zac Efron is having trouble in the dating world. I know, crazy, right? Well, it turns out that being a celebrity is one of the biggest hurdles in Efron's love life. Fans of American Ninja Warrior, this is the perfect place for you to train. This course was designed by the guy who created the original course on the show. I'm here on the official black carpet for the HBO premiere of Ballers Season 2. We're going to get a preview from the stars coming up. Governor Rick Scott, in a statement today, called on Congress to ask for 1,000 new prevention kits for pregnant mothers here in the Miami area. And as for Hillary Clinton, she's on her way to 2 private fundraisers for her campaign. In Miami, Danni Dikes, NBC6 News. The police officer that shot and killed an elderly woman at a Citizens Academy, turns out he's got a checkered past right here in South Florida, and we're digging deeper into why he's been under investigations before. One man trying to fool workers at Disney World, but in the end, he's the one who ended up looking dopey. But there's another trend Team USA is hoping to change tonight. For NBC6, Brian Moore explains from Olympic Park in Rio. And pregnancy not stopping a woman when a thief tries to take off with her rent money. The crime on camera. Those stories and more are coming up on Local 10 News at 4:30. We'll be back after the break. They're graceful and docile creatures that are often hunted for the sport and their meat. But it's not human activity that's threatening Florida's precious key deer, who have been dying at an alarming rate. The culprit is a flesh-eating pest called the New World screwworm.
As that larvae grows, it screws itself down into the flesh, and it eats on living flesh, and it continues to bore down in that flesh, and it can cause all type of injuries to the host.
Entomologists are working to figure out where the infestation came from.
The eradication from the southern United States was completed in about 1966, 50 years ago. And so up until this year, we've been free of screwfly.
The adult screwworm is about the size of a common housefly, but the tiny critter's having a big impact, killing more than 130 deer in just the last few months alone. Roughly 10% of this endangered population. Now, with fawning season approaching, biologists fear that the doe will become more susceptible to infection. The U.S. Fish and Wildlife officials on Big Pine Key have trapped and fit 30 female deer with radio collars.
Try and get it so low where you can't hear it anymore. And now you probably hold it up to your ear and then do the sweep to see where it gets louder.
This will help the biologists to track the deer and get an early jump on treatment if necessary. The officials will check the collared deer several times a week and daily once fawning begins. The wildlife officials are checking to see if the collar's too tight, if she's lactating, if she has any open sores, but she looks in pretty good condition. So we're gonna go on and check for deer number 9.
Now that's a piece of the treated stuff.
Meanwhile, volunteers are teaming up with refuge workers to treat affected animals and prevent the screwworm outbreak from spreading further.
Until we get to the point where the USDA and the screwworm folks say, hey, you guys can, we're feeling really good about this situation. We're gonna continue orally treating the deer. Here's an animal that it lives nowhere else but here, and it really is something that the local community is proud of.
Going through extensive training on how to lure and feed the deer, the volunteers hide the anti-parasitic medication in bread and feed it to the deer. But to ensure treatment of all types of deer, feeding troughs or medication stations have been set up across the Florida Keys.
There's no people involved, so if they are skittish deer, they can just come up to these and feed and get dosed.
The biotechs have also placed wildlife cameras around the stations to monitor the deer. And the treatment appears to be working. Only 2 deer have been euthanized in the past month, compared to more than 70 euthanized in October. Over in Marathon, Florida, the U.S. Department of Agriculture set up a command center to help fight the infestation. Entomologists have released over 60 million sterilized flies from Panama into the area.
The female only mates once in her lifetime. So if we release enough sterilized flies to try to ensure that mating that takes place is to a sterile male, then obviously no offspring are produced.
The hope is that this mating will prevent the births of new screwworm larvae, and visitors leaving the Keys with their pets should look out for animal health check zones. The FDA has cleared over 10,000 pets and livestock traveling to the mainland from the Keys.
Oh, you did so good. You did so good.
But refuge workers say they're not going to leave until the key deer situation is stable.
A key deer is just, it's symbolic of like what is really special about this area and what's really special about this country, and the fact that people have poured their hearts and souls in helping protect an animal that's really on the brink of extinction.
For UMTV, I'm Danni Dikes. It's President's Day weekend, which means that we've got hundreds of thousands of people flocking to Key Biscayne for the Miami International Boat Show. There's a ton of boats here to see, so let's go check it out. For its second year, the Miami Marine Stadium Park and Basin is hosting the 76th annual Miami International Boat Show. The show's got everything, from wake sport fishing boats to family cruisers and luxury yachts. Organizers say it's the largest show yet.
Well, overall, we have 1,300 boats in the show, 700 on land, the 565 or so in the water. So this is truly the world's greatest boat show.
The show includes 7 different tents, each featuring boats, electronics, marine accessories, or extremely large engines. Each boat also has its own special flair.
Surfgate is Malibu's patent surf wave system. Then your wakeboard wake is just massive.
Out on the marina, the boats are arranged by size and vessel, and I particularly enjoyed this one. It's the SV Yacht Alpha, and it's the fastest luxury yacht in the world.
This one goes over 90 miles per hour. With all the options included, like this one, goes for $813,000 without tax.
The Miami Boat Show brings in about $600 million in revenue for the city of Miami, the equivalent of 2 Super Bowls.
We create about 6,500 jobs in South Florida, so it's a huge economic impact.
And managing director of the Lowe's says the show also benefits Miami Beach.
It's an event that started in one area, but has managed through the popularity of the event to expand. So it's really become an event that helps revenue for the entire city.
And at the end of the day, tourists can enjoy a nice, relaxing boat ride, knowing that they're helping the local economy. For UMTV, I'm Danni Dikes.